Well, I'm really happy to be here. So this is my third or fourth time in KL, but I just want to say a special thanks to JBIX for having me. So let's just dive into it. How many people are new to peering? All right, we're gonna talk down. We're not going to be so technical then. So when you talk to somebody, it's really important to know their history, so I know who you're talking about. I was with I'm with Hurricane Electric almost 5 years now. I'm focused on global connectivity, reaching new markets. We're in over 44 countries and over 221 internet exchanges, Tom. So we're adding one more tomorrow. So I'm closely on your heels. Prior to that, I was with Amazon for 4 years. I was responsible for all the AWS cluster deployments and CDNs throughout Asia. So my focus on Asia was started 4 years ago, or at my Amazon time. Prior to that, I was with Microsoft, focused on global connectivity as well. Anyway, here's a snapshot of our backbone. Like I said, we're in over 44 countries, and we just launched in the Philippines, which I'm really excited to announce. We're constantly growing. So here's a snapshot of who knows bgp.he.net. So everyone who's looking at their laptops not paying attention, so go to bgp.he.net. It's a really good resource for you to learn about networks, and I'll dive into it a little more later in the slide deck. Like Tom said, we're constantly battling, but I have a backbone, and Tom's working on getting a back one. Good job. So why so many internet exchanges? Does anyone in the room want to care to guess why we are on so many exchanges? No, it's very expensive, actually. My monthly spend's over $1 million on internet exchanges per month. Connectivity. We just passed 7,800 unique ASs. We join internet exchanges to get more unique ASs because, as everyone knows, as Tom was talking about before, if you have a bilateral relationship with a network, you're going to perform better. So our network performs better because we have so many direct relationships, and we do not peer on route servers. We only give a subset, but because it's really important for me to have the direct relationship, so that I say, hey Tom, what's going on? So that we have constant feedback how things perform. So when we have bilaterals, it just makes things work better. So before we start, we all live in glass houses, so we shouldn't throw stones. Does everyone understand that one? Is that an American one, or is that what globally translates? Let me rephrase it in a different way. We all have our faults. We all make mistakes. So if you see someone having a problem with routing or something else, offer to lend a hand and be helpful, and try to make the world a better place, and don't criticize and throw stones ever, because everyone remembers what you say. So, well, wrong way. So offer to help and drop the rock. That's all I'm saying. So I'm going to call out some things in here, but it's not my intent to criticize. It's just my intent to point out things that could be improved. So security. As of a couple of years ago, no one really cared. I worked for several different companies, and their policies were surprising, especially with the amount of resources they have. So right now, security is critically important because of route leaks and hijacks. Route leak means that it's a network is advertising a prefix or a subset of IP addresses that does not belong to them, or hijacks. People can't hear me? Is that better? All right, sorry. Wake up. So some of the basics. So defend your network. So we're going to go over logical port security, IP subnet security, routing security, and some peering tools. So let's just go for it. So many of the IXPs that you join will provide you guidelines on how to configure your port. And this can be from great details, but one of the most important ones is disabling services like proxy ARP, right? Apply ACLs, so make sure that you're only advertising blocks or subnets that you own and not others. Your IX port's a piece of the network, and it's exposed to 50 to several hundred on DECIX. So it's very important that you take the time. So remove the security risk. Why do we care? So the reason why is, why do we care? Because proxy ARP is very dangerous to internet exchanges. And this just didn't happen too long ago. This is back in 2007. Total impact time to the entire internet exchange was an hour and a half. Root cause, human error. So what happened here is that the customer installed and turned up a port. It was in the quarantine LAN. Everything was fine. But then they moved it to production LAN, and they removed the configuration that blocked proxy ARP. Human error. Same identical type of thing happened in Japan on BBX Tokyo in 2018. 40 minutes of impact. Root cause, human error. So what can we do to fix that? What can we do to fix that? It's my hope that the internet exchanges will put in some kind of automation. Once they see proxy ARP, they'll disable that port and then email and notify. Some people think that's heavy-handed. I like heavy hands because it means that the person ports goes down, they're going to respond. People don't always respond to emails, but their physical port gets turned off. People are going to notice, right? So IP subnet. This is a block that's assigned to your peering port. It's also a target for DDoS attacks. So applying the best security practice will help limit the exposure. So the IPX LAN is not your space. It should not be routed globally. There are a few networks around the world that are announcing all the blocks. And so every time I have an opportunity to talk to them face to face, I'm saying, hey man, you're endangering the entire exchange. So we check this. This is my network on the JP NAP exchange in Tokyo. And this is from PeeringDB, which is the source of everything. This is currently being advertised. And also, if you use bgp.ag.net and throw in your IP address, you can see what's happening. So 3 different networks are advertising it. But why? Why are they doing that? They should not be advertising that. So let's take a look at some of the internet exchanges around the world. Red means that the IP block is being advertised. Green means it's not. And to be fair, let's take a look at some of the bigger guys. These are internet exchanges globally, right? I want to make sure that's clear. So all the big guys throughout Europe are leaking it, or some of their members are. There's also a tool set that can be run by the internet exchanges that will help alert them to this. This is one that's free for now, but it's end of the life next year. Here's a snapshot from BGP on for the Seattle Internet Exchange. It shows us roughly, we get an email, we can instantly notify one of our customers. Yo from NTT has also read another replacement. Why do we care? So why would we care whether or not the subnet's being advertised? Anybody? Tom? Unfortunately, back in 2013, there was a giant DDoS attack because the subnet was being advertised. And this almost destroyed, it took down the entire links. Am I exaggerating, Tom? Severely impacted, so there was degradation of service. It could have been prevented. So that's my ask. So now let's go into basic routing security. So you must filter your peers. Most of the networks do not filter their peers. This is negligent behavior, and we should work to resolve this. Why does it matter? A /24 was hijacked for China Telecom, and this lasted for 6 days. This is a real impact to the internet. There's another hijack with over 100 prefixes. BGPstream.com, this is actually an active running title. If you log into this website, you can see that there's active attacks and hijacks going on right now. I'm actually quite surprised how prolific it is. But hopefully in the next 10 years, we'll resolve this. I know we can do better. We must filter our peers. So it's important two directions, the routes you receive and the routes you advertise. So let's start with the routes you receive. Here's the 4 different ways that we can do things. Prefix count, AS path, prefix list, and RPKI. Who only uses prefix lists now, or what's it called? Prefix counts now, right? And that's okay. This is the first one. My only request is that you tighten up your limits. When I worked at both Amazon and Microsoft, this is the only thing they did. They didn't do anything else. I know they're moving forward with other things right now, but I can't actually speak to that. With graceful restart means when the prefix limit is popped, it'll restart in 45 minutes or so. AS path, who peers in Japan? So there's daily emails going out saying, hey, please update my AS path, and that's by peer. Prefix list per neighbor. You can actually write and code this out fairly simply, automated. RPKI, who's actually running RPKI now? Nobody? Okay, one network. And that's okay because not every router in the world today supports RPKI. So here's something called BGP-Q3. It allows you to script and build prefix lists that are valid. So the whole point is that as we move forward in time, whatever you're doing today, whether it's prefix filters or prefix count, next year just try to do a little better. You know, Hurricane Electric's doing the same thing. Here's a whole bunch of IXPs that are running RPKI, and the list is growing. Here's one of the tools that, did I misplace this in the deck? Yeah, I thought I moved this down. Routing.hg.net. So if you're peering with Hurricane Electric, we are actually filtering all of our peers as of a year and a half ago. And this is a tool set that will allow you to go, if you go to this website, you can actually see what routes we're installing, what routes we're rejecting. If you don't have a valid ROA, we will not install your route. So here's a snapshot from my friend from Cloudflare. As you can see that there's a bunch of information, AS set. This is all from the peering DB. And each peering session you have with me will be reflected here. I'm not going to dive into it much more because this is like a 10 minutes segue. This is not my current deck. Anyway, here's a snapshot showing that Tom leaked a route for me just to do this in this presentation. Can you upload my right deck? I emailed that to you guys. I'll skip through this. So some peering tools, bgp.hg.net, who's used that? So if you're new to peering or networking, this is a key resource for you. So basically, if you go to bgp.hg.net, and since Archie's here, I was doing this in his honor, who do you want to peer with in the Philippines? On the left-hand side of bgp.hg.net, you can see the world report. And if you click on there, you go to the Philippines. And by sorting by V4 routes, you can get a good guess of who you want to peer with in the Philippines. Jumping down, I picked the Department of Science and Technology to get a dive in a little more. So if you can see that on the top here, we threw in their AS number, and then we start to get information about this network. Scrolling down on the page, we can see that most of their traffic goes through 17.639 IP converge. But also, if we go back a slide, oh, actually, I cover that. We can find out also that they're only on one internet exchange, which I think is kind of surprising. I thought they would definitely be inside of the Philippines on the PH Open IX. Is that true, Archie? Just interesting questions. What's important about bgp.he.net is that you can start forming some questions yourself. You can start talking to the network and asking about the different blocks they advertise. Why are they not appearing inside of the Philippines? And how can we connect to them? Yeah, this is not the deck I submitted. There's a DECIX-JBIX.com. There's actually an automated peering tool that you can buy from them. It will actually respond to emails, configure the peers automatically. So when I upload the final deck, it'll have that slide in there. PeeringDB.com. It's really important that everyone saw Arnold's talk, but it's really important that you define and keep that updated with all your information, because that information's not updated, then it'd be really hard for people to connect to you. That's all I got for you, so if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.